So I made a video a month ago showing that I put most of my money into the FTSE 250 and I had lost out on the opportunity to make a lot of money on the S&P 500. Now this video is the beginning of a new series which I show how I go all in into the FTSE 250, as I personally believe that's where the gains will be for the next 2 years. This video is by no means financial advice and completely for entertainment purposes only. The FTSE 250 is actually a very high risk investment. Even though it is an ETF and you might think it's diversified, it has a very high volatility. As an investor, I look into volatility instead of looking out of it, as I believe that regularly investing during volatile times ensures that you make more money in the long run, and I'm going to be explaining that in this video. So essentially in this video I'm going to go through all my different portfolios and add up how much I have in the FTSE 250, and this will be a new series in which I keep racking up the amount of shares that I have in the FTSE 250 until I decide to switch to another ETF. So this is the FTSE 250 over the past month, and what I mean by high volatility is the fact that it's constantly just going up and down. Over the past 6 months we can see that it is constantly just going up and down, and I know some of you trend spotters can see that the overall trend does look like it is going down. Year to date doesn't seem to be any better. However, I'm sticking to my guns with the FTSE 250, and I think that other ETFs such as the S&P 500 are potentially very good for long-term growth. However, I want to risk it all and go with the FTSE 250 because I think over the next 2 years the FTSE 250 is going to be going quite sideways with a lot of dips down, and this is a great place to park my money because I'm not going to be touching this money until I'm about 60. I'm not 30 yet, so that's over 30 years. In comparison to if I put it into the S&P 500, that is very likely to just keep going up and up, and eventually I do think that it will come down to a small correction. But in any case, it's not a great time to be buying S&P 500 stocks. That time has already passed, I'm afraid. But anyway, over the past month we can see there has been a lot of volatility. There was a big dip at 27.65. that would have been a great opportunity in my opinion to be buying lots of that, and then a peak around 29.82. Over the past 5 days we can see this trend is continuing with lots of peaks and lots of troughs. Now if we go back to a month, we can see that if we invest regularly, for example if we are investing every week or even every day, there's plenty of opportunity to be buying low, and then when the price goes up, essentially when you have bought units at a lower price, you can consider that to be instantaneous profits, and eventually these dips really do add up. Instead of putting your money into a vault or a bank account which just stays flat, buying into dips can be a potentially good way to make sure that your money is growing in the long term. This is all to do with long term, it's not to do with short term, although I do think over the short term the FTSE 250 will also be showing good growth. Essentially what I'm saying is dips are welcome for the FTSE 250. I'm going to be holding for at least 2 years. Well, anyway, that is my intention, and I do think that we will be seeing the FTSE 250 back at £37 in the near future, and as you can see that is over 20% of more growth potential to be made, although remember past performance is definitely not an indicator for future performance at all. Furthermore, the FTSE 250 does have a pretty nice dividend yield. The last dividend payments were about 32p per share. I expect the next dividend payments in September to be around 21 pence per share. So the more shares that I hold now for a better price, the more I can receive in dividends, and the dividends are paid out 4 times a year. So now I'm going to go into my trading 2-on-2 portfolios and see how the performance of the FTSE 250 is, as well as count up stock of how many of that I have. So this is my trading 2-on-2 invest account, and currently I have £360 worth of free funds. So I aim to put this amount and the amount I'm going to be putting on Monday from my salary into the FTSE 250 when I think it is a good price, so whenever it dips. So in my general investment accounts, both for my trading 2-on-2 and for my free trade, I'm not going to try to time the market with my general investment account. That is because buying and selling does lead to capital gains, and I just want to stay out of the capital gains for now. I'm going to be making a video in the future showing why I use both an ISA and a general investment account such as the trading 2-on-2 invest, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But in any case, here are my FTSE 250 holdings, and I invest with the Vanguard FTSE 250, ticker code VMID, V mid, so Vanguard mid cap FTSE 250 companies. As you can see, I have a total of 172 shares in my trading 2-on-2 invest account, and that has a value of £5,087. Over the past month, we can see that the FTSE 250 has recovered, and previously I was saying that I was in a deficit. However, this is no longer the case. You can see that I have been buying more and more into the FTSE 250, and I received a dividend of £47.29 at the end of June. Now from the trading 212 graph, we can see that there were lots of good buying opportunities, for example at £27.55, and then we hit a peak of nearly £30. So that would have been a really good gain if you had put money into there. So now I'm going into my trading 212 ISA, and as you can see, there are absolutely no free funds. And if I go into my FTSE 250 holdings, I have a total of 716 shares worth £21,189, which is significantly more than I have in my invest account. So the goal with my two ISAs, both my trading 212 ISA and my Freetrade ISA, are to kind of try to time the market and to sell when I do think it's going to drop again. In any case, there is a high risk with this, but I'm completely okay with taking the risk, and I do not at all recommend that you do so. So if you're keeping count, so far we have 888 shares of the FTSE 250 worth around £26,276. So now this is my Freetrade portfolio, and again I have a general investment account in addition to an ISA. Like I said, I'm going to be explaining why in a video coming up soon. If I go into my free funds, I have only £4.50, so that's not enough to buy a whole share in the FTSE 250. Unlike trading 212, does not allow you to have fractional shares in ETFs, which could be a good thing due to the tax implications that fractional shares are not allowed in your ISA. So currently I hold an additional 224 shares in the FTSE 250 worth around £6,618, and as you can see from the graph here, again we had plenty of good opportunities to buy into the FTSE 250 over the past month. Also, as you can see, at the end of June I received a dividend payment of £81.48, in which I completely reinvested and got an additional 3 shares in the FTSE 250. So currently we are at a total of 1,102 shares with a value of around £32,894. So this is my Freetrade ISA, and if I go into account, I have £41,816 ready to invest into the FTSE 250. Now the reason why I held this as cash is because of the volatility. Sometimes I like to test the water and buy a certain amount in the FTSE 250, and what will happen is it will either go up, meaning I made some profit, or it will go all the way down, giving me another opportunity to put in another wad of cash and make profits there. That is essentially how I'm making the most out of the volatility, and I will admit that you do need quite a bit of capital in order to start doing this. So in my Freetrade ISA, I have 370 shares currently worth around £10,931. Now, like I said, I have around another £42,000 to put into the FTSE 250. So if you keep up with this series, you will see exactly how many shares that I rack, how much I reinvest in it via my dividends and my further deposits. So as a total, currently I have 1,482 shares in the FTSE 250 worth about £43,285. So lastly, I want to show you my InvestEngine account, which is still a baby. I have around 12 shares in that, and that's the same VMID, Vanguard FTSE 250, and that is worth around £359. So in total, I have around 1,494 shares in the FTSE 250 worth around £44,184. And as I showed you, I have around £41,800 ready to put into the FTSE 250 as soon as I see a good opportunity to buy up the dip. Now remember, this is by no means financial advice, and please don't try this at home. Keep up with the series to see just how many FTSE 250 shares I end up with and what my dividend payments are from month to month. Make sure to check out some of my other videos, and I will see you in the next video.